go over all the ingredients for our pork chop sheet pan dinner. And this may seem a little unconventional, but trust me, it's going to get dinner on the table fast. You're going to cook everything all at once in the oven, and it's going to be delicious. So I picked up a family size package with the 6 pork chops in it, and that's what we're going to go with. We have 2 sheet pans that are lined with nonstick aluminum foil. You do it however you like it, and we're just going to bake these up with a variety of go-alongs. I'm going to go ahead and we're going to roast off the pork chops in a 400-degree oven. Everything's going to bake at the same time. With the pork chops, I'm going to cook some onion slices and some sliced apple. And then on this other sheet, I'm going to do a combination of baby carrots, sweet potatoes that I have peeled, sliced, and halved, and then a half of a head of cabbage that I've cut into wedges. I did not cut the core out of it so they would stay together. So all we're going to do now is we're going to prep this to go in the oven. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a little bit of olive oil, like maybe a tablespoon, and we're going to go ahead and we're just going to kind of spread that all over the meat, just like that. And then I'm going to do a combination of seasonings. I have my Szechuan chicken rub. I'm going to give a light sprinkle. I'm going to do a little additional garlic. This is just some granulated garlic. Just a light sprinkle. This smells good already. I'm telling you what, that Szechuan chicken rub, I'd put it on everything. It's awesome. I just love it. And then I'm going to use this savory lemon and herb Mrs. Dash that I used in a previous video, and I just love it. So let's get some of that on there. You can season yours up however you like. This is how I'm going to do mine. Now I'm going to turn these over. Tossing those spices on there. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and lay these apples and onions on top of the pork chops. Lay them in there wherever you want to, and it's all going to be great. What I have here is a half of a large head of cabbage that I've quartered, but I did not remove the core, so everything will stay together, as I mentioned before. And what I have in here is a small bag of those, what they call now baby cut carrots. I have 2 large sweet potatoes that I peeled, I scrubbed, I peeled, I sliced pretty thick, like a ½ inch thick, and I kind of sliced them in half moons, each slice. So, again, we're going to go ahead and we're going to toss this with some olive oil. You've got to do the olive oil, because otherwise everything is just going to dry out. I'm going to go ahead and hit this with a little bit of my Szechuan chicken seasoning, as well as the Mrs. Dash. No rhyme or reason here, folks. This is just whatever you like. If there's something that you like better, then I suggest you go ahead and use that, because whatever you like is what you're going to enjoy the best. I'm going to take these cabbage wedges and I'm just going to lay them on top just like this, and then I'm just going to kind of drizzle a little more. My olive oil is almost empty, but you don't need a ton, you just need a little bit. So in total, for both sheet pans, we've used about 1/4 cup of olive oil, and that's not terrible because this is for 4 people, so that's about a tablespoon per person if we were to eat every single thing that you see in front of you. But I believe this is easily going to serve more than 4 people, so you're going to adjust that to serve the number of people that you need to serve. I have my oven preheated at 400 degrees, and since 2 of these sheet pans won't fit next to each other in my oven, I like to graduate. Put one on one side on the upper rack, that would be the vegetables. Put the meat on the lower rack. In 45 minutes, we're going to come back, we're going to pull these out of the oven, and we will have dinner ready to serve. All right, our sheet pan dinner is ready to take out of the oven. All ready to go. Now we're going to let these sit for a few, and then we'll be back and we'll fix you a plate. All right, we're ready to go. I served you up a plate of our savory pork chop sheet pan dinner. It's really simple. You saw hardly any ingredients at all. A little oil, a little seasoning, pop it in the oven. I decided to put an apple and an onion on mine, and then we roasted up some sweet potatoes, some carrots, and some cabbage. So I hope that you give this savory pork chop sheet pan dinner a try. Tonight we're going to do one with some tilapia that I have in my freezer that I need to use up. I've got about 2 pounds of tilapia fillets that I've thawed out. I have 2 lemons that I've cut in half. We're going to juice those. I have 1 bunch, or about 1 pound of asparagus. Very nice, thin springtime asparagus. I was really excited to find this. And I just cut it up into about 1-inch lengths, and I cut off the woody ends. I also have 2 containers of grape tomatoes, so there's about 1.5 pounds or so here, and I have 1 container of red and 1 container of orange. You use whatever you prefer, whatever you can get. So we've that, and then I have 1 pound of baby Dutch golden potatoes that I have just split in half. They've been washed and split in half, and that's as easy as it gets. Now, to get started, all we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and dump all of my veggies in this big bowl. Now I have my oven preheated to 375 degrees. And all we're going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to squeeze 1 full lemon. I'm also going to use 1/4 cup olive oil. And then I'm going to season this up with some of this Mrs. Dash savory lemon and herb. And I'm probably going to use at least a teaspoon. Now I'm going to just give this all a good toss with my hands. I have a sheet pan here. And I just have it lined with a little bit of aluminum foil. Use whatever aluminum foil you prefer. And this is it. I'm going to lay all of my veggies in the bottom of the pan. Now we're going to bake this at 375 for about 20 minutes. And then we're going to come back, we're going to season up our fish, and then we're going to take this out of the oven, we're going to lay the fish on top and bake it for another 10 or 15 minutes until the fish is done. And that's a sheet pan dinner. Into the oven this goes, 375 for 20 minutes, and we'll be back when it's ready to come out and move on to the next step. All right, our veggies are just about ready, and we're going to go ahead and season up our tilapia. So I'm going to take other lemon, so that's an entire lemon. I'm going to put a couple of tablespoons of olive oil on here. Okay, I'm going to go in here with fish seasoning. Like I said, it tastes very similar to Old Bay. And then I'm going to also go in here with some of this Mrs. Dash lemon and herb seasoning, which is awesome. Okay, and now all I'm going to do is I'm going to get in here with my hands and I'm going to gently toss this all together. Now I'm going to go ahead and get the pan out of the oven. We're going to move over to the stove and I'll show you what we're going to do next. All right, here's our asparagus, our tomatoes, and our potatoes. These have been in my oven for about 20 minutes or so. I needed to make sure that the potatoes were cooked, and they are, and they're beautifully roasted, as are the potatoes and the asparagus. It's all going to be lovely. And now all we're going to do is we're going to take our fish fillets that are seasoned, and we're going to just lay them right on top of the veggies. Back into the oven at 375 for about 10 minutes, or until the tilapia is cooked and flaked and delicious. And we'll bring you back when it's time to take it out. All right, now our roasted vegetable and tilapia sheet pan dinner is all done, ready to come out of the oven. And we're going to serve it. Awesome. It smells wonderful. And you know, I didn't put any onion, I didn't put any garlic, I didn't want too many overpowering seasonings in here. And I just wanted this real clean kind of taste going on. So, because tilapia is kind of delicate, but it can really hold up to other flavors, these roasted potatoes are going to be fantastic. You can already see they have some color on them. Okay, so I'll meet you over at the counter and I'll fix you a plate of this delicious roasted vegetable and tilapia sheet pan dinner. There you have it, our roasted vegetable and tilapia sheet pan dinner all ready for dinner. Like I said, I'm just going to add some salt. I have pink salt in my grinder, and I am going to add a little bit of pepper. And but you should feel free to use whatever fish you have on hand. This would be great with what Rick calls panfish.
Fresh caught fish.
Yeah, you could use fresh caught fish. You could use flounder. You could use pollock. You could use catfish. You could use cod. You could use anything you like, really, to make this. I do suggest a whitefish, though. I don't know that this would be so great with salmon, but that's your preference. You go for it. The potatoes are perfectly roasted. The vegetables are wonderful. These tomatoes are going to, add a little juicy touch to your plate. And I just know that this is going to be lovely. Sheet pan dinners are awesome. They're quick and easy. And if you know how to do it, sometimes you need to use 1 sheet pan, sometimes you need to use 2, but you're going to love it. right, we're going to get started throwing together our Greek-style chicken sheet pan dinner. And this one is really easy. I've got one sheet pan prepared with aluminum foil. What we're going to do here is I have 2 pounds of chicken breast. I have 3 chicken breasts that I have filleted, which means I've sliced them in half lengthwise. I just ran my knife through them. They are nice and trimmed and they're washed. And in my bowl for our vegetables, I have a large crown of fresh broccoli that I have cut up and separated. I have half of a head of cauliflower that I've done the same. I have 4 organic carrots that I have kind of cut on the bias thinly. I have a 1 pound bag of small red new potatoes that I have quartered. I have a large sweet onion that I've cut into wedges. I have about a handful, maybe a whole head of garlic that I peeled and I just tossed in here. So they're in here. They're going to roast in there with that. And I have a lemon that I'm just going to juice in just a minute. I've just mixed all of this up, and we're going to marinate this sort of. We're going to coat it with, instead of olive oil like I did in my other sheet pan dinner, we used olive oil and some seasonings. Today I'm going to use some Greek-style salad dressing. Salad dressing is a great go-to marinade, and it's a great go-to kind of cooking sauce if you think about it. I don't often buy salad dressing, but I do have some in my pantry. When they go on sale, buy one, get one free. They're really great flavor bases to have on hand, not just for salads, but for other applications like we're going to use today. We're going to use some salt, and we're going to use some of my salt-free Greek seasoning blend that I showed you how to make in another video. If you missed that, I will link it below. Now, what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to measure out a cup of dressing. Well, we'll start with a half a cup. A cup seems like it might be a lot. So we're just going to want to coat the veggies. Now I'm going to get in here with my hands, and I'm just going to go ahead and make sure everything gets coated with this dressing. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and hit this with a little bit of my seasoning blend, and I'm going to hit it with some salt. Not too much, about a half a teaspoon, maybe even less for right now. The salad dressing is going to have some saltiness to it, so everyone can adjust later. I'm also going to take a half of this lemon and just squeeze it. Give that another blend. And then we're going to just pop this right here on this sheet pan. Just like that. Save the bowl because we're not done using that yet. Kind of spread this out right there on top. Make sure everything is even. And make sure your broccoli and your cauliflower, the stems aren't like poking up, because the stems will get cooked before everything else does, and you don't want that. I do have my oven preheated to 400 degrees. Now take your chicken and just go ahead and pop it in that same bowl. Let's take another half a cup of salad dressing, pour it on in there. Some more of our Greek seasoning, about a teaspoon. Put a little bit of salt in there, and we're going to squeeze this other half of a lemon. Now, you can choose to pre-marinate this chicken for maybe 20 minutes, a half an hour before you're getting ready to make it. But I think this is great. Now I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to lay this chicken out on top of the veggies. Now we're just going to have this tonight as is. If you left the potatoes out and you got some pita bread, you could slice up the chicken when it's done being cooked and stuff all these things into a pita, and that would make a really lovely sandwich. It would kind of be like a Slovaki. All right, now what we're going to do is we're going to pop this in our 400 degree oven. And that's going to be cooking for 25 to 35 minutes, depending on when your chicken is cooked through. So we'll be back when it's time to pull this out of the oven, and we will show you what our Greek-style chicken sheet pan dinner looks like. All right, there you have it. Our really amazing, I can't wait to taste it, Greek-style chicken sheet pan dinner. This did take about 45 minutes to cook, and that's because we had a lot of veggies and our potatoes were kind of dense. So that's something you're going to want to adjust. So these sheet pan dinners are going to take anywhere from a half an hour to an hour or somewhere in that area. So I hope you give this Greek-style chicken sheet pan dinner a try. I hope that you love it. I don't know how you can't love this. It's really, really amazing. And until next time, I'll see ya.